If you're banging your head trying to figure out how to write your personal statement, you've come to the right place. With 3 Ivy League degrees, Harvard for undergrad, Yale for medical school, and Harvard for residency, I have it down to almost an exact science. In this video, I'll give you the insights gained and save you some major headaches. Step 1. Understand what the personal statement is all about. This is not just another random essay. This is an essay with purpose. It's writing meant to persuade, to influence. What does that sound like? An ad, right? Your personal statement is nothing but a commercial, except it's not Coca-Cola you're selling. It's yourself. Principles the exact same though. The best commercials have interesting hooks, evoke emotion, and solve real problems a customer is dealing with day to day. It's no wonder you're stumped. You've never written an ad in your entire life, at least not one with stakes like this, and your customer is anything but receptive. The admissions dude has but a few minutes to read your essay and can't wait to find something to reject you for, unless you convince them otherwise. But it's hard because most of school writing is what? Analyzing the symbolism of some stupid red scarf the main character wears, right? Yeah, no one cares. And worst of all, you're spending most of your brain power trying to cram filler to hit that required page count, not what's actually needed. Precise and purposeful communication meant to compel others to meaningful action. Outside of school, this exact process is repeated over and over again. Can you market yourself well to future employers, future lovers, friends, hamsters? Can you efficiently showcase your value in a way where they actually care? That's why before I write my personal statement, I work on my elevator pitch. Imagine you're in an elevator and the dean of admissions steps in. You have exactly 1 minute to introduce yourself and make your case. Why do you deserve to be in this school? What are the 3 main takeaways you want him to remember about you? What are the 2 most interesting stories you have that can solidify that? The elevator pitch helps you focus your message. With that in mind, let's move to step 2. See everything through the eyes of your customer. Know everything about them. What makes them squeal like a little pig at night? What's their mom's maiden name and social security number? What do they truly want? If your answer is simply the best or smart and talented people, you have some homework to do. What does the best really mean? What criteria do they use to evaluate the best? Read the school's mission statement. What causes are they proud of? What kind of students do they highlight in their brochures? How do they market themselves? These are all important subtle clues. From it, you know who they want to be and the people they aspire to attract. Your goal is not to ask what the school can do for you, it's to ask what you can do for the school. That's why step 3 is crucial. Understanding your community contribution. The subtext of your essay should be oozing with this. I like to think of the school as a football coach. He's out there scouting and recruiting to make the best, most well-rounded team possible. He needs his star quarterback, his wide receivers, his offensive linemen. Which function do you fulfill on that roster? If you're just another smart kid who knows how to study, how do they know you're not just going to hole up in your dorm for 4 years and contribute nothing of value to their campus? That's why the personal statement is key. You reveal your personality. Take Bob, for example. Bob reveals in his essay his deep desire to help others, the motivation for why he spends most of his free time tutoring homeless babies in the SAT. This was his motivation for starting a nonprofit based on this very idea. In fact, it was so awesome, it won a prestigious $1 million grant, and yet Bob didn't even think to embezzle the funds. He spent the money enrolling these homeless babies in a premier SAT bootcamp accelerator class. Bob's life story is now a singular focused narrative thread written to infect the mind like a stupid catchy car insurance jingle. Speaking of which, if you weren't lucky enough to be enrolled in an SAT for Babies Bootcamp Accelerator yourself, it's not too late. Back in the day, I remember studying for the SATs and working out of a thick paperback SAT textbook while watching movies on VHS. Don't do that. Harness the digital age and work smarter with Acely. With over 4,500 questions and 10 full-length adaptive practice tests, you get 10 times the number of questions compared to any SAT prep book. I'm actually most impressed by Acely's AI tutor. It feels like you have a real teacher sitting next to you. Ask it for hints, more detailed explanations, and get all your questions answered immediately. Well, almost all questions. Acely's adaptive platform is constantly analyzing your patterns and tailoring questions to what you need most, with a custom-made study plan so you're consistently working on your weaknesses. Not only that, it literally gives you a step-by-step to-do list every day to make sure you hit your gold test score by the deadline, even telling you whether you're on track or not. Uh-oh, looks like I'm not. The more you use Acely, the more it knows you and the more it ensures you get exactly what you need from each study session. If that sounds cool, visit acely.ai and use code SFS10 to get $10 off your first month. Thank you to Acely for sponsoring this video. Fourth step is to persuade with feelings, not fact. According to Harvard business professor Gerald Zaltman, 95% of our purchase decisions take place unconsciously. We buy the product first based on emotion and then justify the decision later using logic after the fact. Research shows the more complex the decision is, the less we are able to rely on logic. Our working memory can only hold 4 to 5 things. When a decision requires consideration of more variables, like an admissions decision, our rational conscious mind is overwhelmed and we end up relying on the gut to do the job for us. In other words, we make a decision based on how it makes us feel. Intuitively, that makes sense and is probably why ads are the way they are. Take Nike. To sell shoes, they aren't force-feeding us technical specs, right? Our shoes are 5 grams lighter with 50% less drag coefficient, able to withstand 30 more millimeters of mercury at pressure and surveyed to be more comfortable in 6 out of 10 focus groups. Yeah, no, that's not going to sell shoes. Nike ads are all about emotion, excitement, inspiration, winning. What do most people do when they write personal statements? They painfully regurgitate the driest parts of their resume, thinking they'll logic their way into an acceptance. Not only are you wasting an opportunity to provide context for your application, you're squandering the most tried and true way to win an acceptance, making a real connection, reminding the admissions officer that you're not just another piece of paper. You're a real person with real hopes and dreams, someone they can earnestly relate to. The more you can get the dude to empathize with you, the harder it will be for them to put you in the discard pile. Consider Harry and Billy. Both work part-time at KFC while going to school. Sounds like typical boring resume stuff no one cares about, right? Sure, maybe for Harry, because for him it's just a stupid side job meant to get some extra pocket money. But for Billy, this job is everything. Billy does it because his single mother is having a hard time climbing the corporate ladder at the nightclub where she works as a stripper. Billy's paycheck goes to putting food on the table because he has 4 younger brothers and 3 abandoned hamsters he personally rescued from the streets of Detroit. He can barely study because his greasy textbook is covered in KFC honey barbecue sauce. You can't help but feel for Billy. You may even ignore his poor grades given the situation. That's what a powerful story does. It makes you relatable and memorable. With the right story, even a minimum wage KFC job can be more memorable than being the president of 10 random school clubs everyone knows is just resume filler. Step 5. Make a killer first impression. The first 5 sentences of your essay are most important, straight up. Spend the greatest time here. Assume they'll half-heartedly read the rest, but that's okay. If you construct those first 5 sentences well, they should 1. Already have an amazing feeling about you, and 2. Naturally want more. People are inherently lazy. They're constantly looking for reasons to reject you. If your essay comes off as boring, if the language is awkward, if it's the same overused cliche everyone else is writing about, it unconsciously sends a message. This guy isn't very good. Why should I waste my time any further? Subconsciously, the decision has already been made. The dude's now going to speed read the rest and off into the discard pile you go. That's why you construct the first 5 sentences with surgical precision. Each and every word, period or semicolon, has a clear and specific purpose, either to evoke emotion or to bring connection. That's it. At a more advanced level, we can talk about syntactical flow, varying your sentence structure like your Mozart composing a musical score, linguistic lyrical liveliness. If all your sentences drone on like a monotonous flat soda, readers going to bail. Ideally, your essay should be so inherently interesting, a random dude stumbling upon it should want to read it from beginning to end. That means your essay should have a great hook, solid pacing, and filled with stories that bring your persona to life. Throw the audience into the action immediately and make them care as soon as possible. If you've done your job well, not only will they not want to speed read through the rest of it, by the time they finish, they should be thinking to themselves, damn, I need to meet this person. He sounds like one interesting son of a gun. Because that's the idea, right? At the end of the day, the purpose of this essay is to make these dudes want to meet you. That's how you get that interview, baby. Step 6 now. Ignore your imposter syndrome. I know, it may seem overwhelming, but it's really not. Ignore that little voice in your head telling you aren't good enough. You don't have to cure cancer to get into college. If that was the case, only Nobel Prize winners would be getting into college. You just have to show potential. Think of the essay as basically a trailer, a sneak peek into what you're capable of on campus and beyond. People want to know how you think, what you value, what keeps you up at night. Just be honest, raw, and authentic. Your life is more interesting than you think. It's already filled with stories that, when properly told, could be on Netflix. Hopefully not because it's some true crime documentary where you've woken up and your kidneys are missing, but yeah, you get the idea. That's why often before I even start writing, I list out all the stories I may want to tell. Interesting ones, dumb things, mundane ones. Flesh them out and spend some time marinating them in your creative juices. One last analogy to get you thinking. The personal statement is kind of like a first date. It can be awkward and forced, but it can entirely be awesome too. Think about how you want to come across on a first date. Not too vanilla and robotic, because that's boring. Not interview style where you just show up and list all the reasons why you're incredibly dateable, because that's weird. It should be organic. It should flow. It should be at times interesting, other times funny. There should be some tension, some underlining chemistry. You can even be downright self-deprecating if it makes them like you. There are no rules. Just show them who you are and have some fun at the same time. With that said, if this resonated with you and you want to dive deeper into all of this, I'm in the process of creating a community of like-minded folks, not only for essay writing, but for success and productivity in general. I want to build a space where we can all study together, hit our goals week after week, and keep each other accountable. If that sounds interesting to you, email me and I'll put you on the waitlist for when this thing officially starts. You can also sign up for my Substack and get some digestible productivity tips sent your way today. Or for more bite-sized regular emails, sign up for the official SpoonFed Ideas newsletter. If you want your very own custom-made character doodle to be part of all future video scenes I draw, then join these fine folks and become a Patreon member. You can be yourself, a dog, or even a rock. Possibilities are endless. And finally, as always, best way to support the channel is to subscribe. Go tell your friends, your grandma, and your pet hamster. Smell you later.